Hey y'all, it's your Missniecytv and I'm here to review for Sistas Season 7, Episode 17. The episode starts off with Jordan waking up from his drunken night trying to figure out his surroundings and what happened. Over in Gary's office, we see Gary holding something in his hand and he's like, oh, these are good. And then Ethan asks, what are you going to do with these pictures? Because apparently the pictures are of Jordan in the bed with some sex workers, male and female. Gary sent Ethan to go over there to drug Jordan so he could get some Photoshop pictures of him doing stuff that he's not supposed to be doing so he could ruin his campaign. Gary's all happy and excited about this. And he's like, you sure nobody's seen you? Ethan's like, yeah. Gary is so happy and elated that he got these pictures that he even calls Hudson into the office so he could look. Over at Jordan's house, Andy comes over there because she's like, what? Why are you not answering your phone? Jordan's like, well, I couldn't get to my phone. Plus, I had a drunken night and I drank too much and I don't remember. Andy does give him some medicine and see if that will help him feel better. Andy's like, I know you're feeling bad about your sister and stuff, but you can't get into like a drunken state, and I'm glad that Ethan's not here to see you. Over at the bank, we have Sabrina and Maurice talking, and Sabrina asks Maurice, how's Grayson doing? And he's like, oh, we're not doing so good. All this moving in stuff is new to me. I'm like, Maurice, you let the man move in already and you don't even know him like that? To see Maurice, you didn't learn from the last time, even though I don't think Grace. That's when we see Rich comes in, and he comes in with a drink for Sabrina, and Maurice is like, where's my drink at? Am I not cute enough to get a drink? Rich is like, can I talk to you in your office for a second? Sabrina's like, no, we can talk right here. Rich is like, I just want to apologize for what happened the other night. I didn't mean to come off that way. I was just trying to make sure that you're doing the proper steps in the fertility journey. Sabrina's like, no, you're not. Sabrina's like, actually, I think we should take a break. Rich is like, take a break for what? Sabrina, I love you. And Sabrina's like, well, I think we should just take a break intimately since. So Rich is like, no sex. Sabrina's like, yeah. Rich is like, so what about kisses on your neck? I know you like those. Sabrina's like, them either. We're at the law firm in the parking lot. Fatima catches Hayden and Miss Willis getting out the car together and they look all flirty. And Fatima's like, what is this? Then she clocks their teeth, like something must be going on. Then she confronts Hayden about it, like, what the heck is this? Hayden's like, I'm just helping my client get to work because she said something happened with her driver. Fatima's like, no, what it looks like is just saying do and sleep with anybody just to get what you want. Hayden's like, I know what you want. You want some of my again. And Fatima's like, no, and especially not with that. It's a pencil. And if you were the last person on earth, I'd rather be stranded on a desert being eaten by a shark. And I'm like, Fatima, you ain't had to hurt that boy feelings. Then Fatima goes inside and calls Andy to let her know what she saw. And Andy's like, when I get part of the first person I'm firing is Hayden. And Fatima's like, well, can you hurry up? Over at the airport, Tony and Danny are having a conversation. And Tony is talking about having sex in the rain. And Danny's like, I'm not doing that because of my hair. We black. We don't do that. Tony's like, okay, we can have sex inside then. And Danny's like, I'm not doing that either because the last time we had sex in your office, your kid showed up like your ex-wife. Tony's like, well, you forget I'm the VP and I have keys to everywhere. And he's like, speaking of my ex-wife, she wants to have dinner with the kids like a family. And Danny's like, well, since I'm your girlfriend and I'm going to be part of this family, why can't I come? Tony's like, she just wants to show the kids that we could be a family after this. Tony's like, if it makes you feel any better, I'll call you when I get there and I'll call you when I'm on my way to your house. Over at Jordan's house, Ethan comes over and they sit down and talk business about the campaign and stuff. And then Jordan's like, hey Ethan, what time did you leave last night? Ethan's like, around 9. Ethan's like, why? Jordan's like, well, I think I drank too much and I don't remember nothing. Ethan's like, well, the last conversation we had was about me trying to find a woman that's good like Andy, and you also walked me out the doors. Over at the salon, Pam and Trey are having a conversation, and Trey's like, how's Rooster Ridges going? Pam is like, it's going good. I got me an LC. I'm doing the samples like you told me to. Trey's like, that's good. All I want you to do is win. And then they start flirting and talking about how you want to take a deep dive into getting her knowing to better. And Pam is like, you want to take a deep dive into me? Stop being nasty. As they're talking, Zach walks in. He's like, be careful with that one. She's a mess. Trey's like, I got it. And I'm like, who? Karen is wondering the same thing I'm wondering. Zach, what are you doing here? And Zach is like, I'm just here to see if you need anything. Karen's like, I'm fine. She's like, I actually did feel the baby kick. The only reason that Zach is at the salon is to tell Karen that him and Aaron are cool now, and he thinks that she and Fatima should get cool too for the sake of the children. It's like, when did that happen? Zach is like, well, I just realized that we need to come together for the sake of the children since we're gonna have kids at the same time. Karen's like, well, that's great that you and Aaron are cool now, but me and Fatima's ship has sailed. I'm like, Karen, you're the reason that the ship has sailed because you don't want to fix the relationship. Karen, you like Zach seeing you two fight over him. You like the rise that you get from arguing with Fatima. And I honestly think you feel some type of way about Aaron and Zach being cool because you like seeing them two fight over you. Over at the law firm, Randy finally gets to work and they're in the conference room and Hayden's office is across from the conference room and they're looking at the window. And Fatima's like, oh, look at him. I told you they was over there doing something they had no business doing. Miss Marie walks into the conference room and she's like, Andy, you finally made it to work today. Andy's like, I didn't even know you were on the schedule. Miss Marie is like, I wasn't. Miss Marie is like, well, it was an impromptu meeting. And he's like, well, what was the meeting about? Mr. Willis is like, well, I don't even have the time of the crayon box to spend time in Spain. That's when you see Hayden walk in, and he's like, I'll make sure that my assistants give you the deeds on the notes. And him and Miss Willis are sitting there touching and feeling on each other. I'm like, well, they're not trying to hide the fact that y'all did anything. And Andy's like, well, Hayden, why didn't you tell me about the meeting? Hayden's like, well, I'm not supposed to. If you was here on time, you wouldn't know. Hayden and Miss Marie leave the conference room, and Andy's like, well, what was that about? Fatima's like, it gives Eddie Murphy and Eartha Kitt vibes from Boomerang. And I'm like, she's like, enough about them, though. How's Jordan doing? Andy's like, well, he's very depressed, and he's been drinking a lot. And Fatima's like, well, that's not good. Over at Maurice's, Maurice comes home looking for Grace, and Grayson's not there, so Maurice calls his phone, and he goes straight to voicemail. Over at the restaurant, Tony does meet with his kids, but as promised, he does call Danny and lets her know when he got there. This family dinner went exactly how I thought. Tiffany really wants that man back, especially when Brianna asked, where's Miss Danny? She's like, well, this dinner's just for the four of us. Tony was like, I'll let her know that you asked about her. Tiffany was like, well, when was the last time we spent the night together as a family? You should come over and spend the night and let the kids sleep in the bed with us. You could see the hesitancy in Tony's face, like, why did she even ask me this? Tiffany, you doing too much. I knew you wasn't here for good intentions, just to show that y'all a family. You want that man back. Tiffany doesn't care nothing about Tony being in a relationship with Danny. She just want him back. Then we see Sabrina on the phone with Andy as she's cooking dinner for Jordan, because early in the episode she told Jordan that she would cook dinner for him after he said that he hasn't eaten since Penelope. Sabrina calls Andy to let her know what happened with Rich and his comments about what he said. Now he apologized, and now she told him that she doesn't want to have sex with him no more. Andy and Sabrina feel the same way about Rich and how he feels that Sabrina is trying to trap. Andy even alluded to the girls having a conversation outside of Sabrina about Rich and Sabrina in their relationship. Over at the bar, Maurice is talking to his friend Chris about the situation with Grace, and Chris is like, well, go get your man. As they're talking, they see Grayson over there talking to some guy, and Maurice goes over there to confront him, and Maurice is like, so you left me for this bitty bum B. And Grayson's like, well, that's my coworker. Maurice is like, well, coworkers F you. Grayson's like, well, you was the one that asked for space. Maurice is like, well, you got a pencil at my house, and I need you to come get it, and after that, we're done. Like, Maurice, you can't be mad. You was the one that asked for space over something so trivial. Whereas Zach and Fatima are spending time with Michael, and Fatima's reading Michael a story, trying to put him down for bed, and then she realizes that he's up, and Zach is like, well, I need him to go to sleep by 4 o'clock so I can get. Zach tells Fatima that he went to the salon to talk to Karen about Karen and Fatima becoming cordial, and Fatima's like, I ain't got a problem with her. She's the one that got a problem with me. Like I said earlier, Karen doesn't want the job in the end because she lives for it. She thrives off it. Karen gets a call from her building owner telling her that her insurance on the building lapsed and she needs to pay it. If not, she's gonna get in trouble. Karen's like, what credit card's on file? Then they let her know what credit card it is, and she's like, that damn Pam. And I'm like, Karen, as a business owner, you're supposed to be checking your expenses, what comes in and goes out. Karen better figure out what she's gonna do and she won't have a salon no more. And when she gets off the phone with that lady, she's looking shocked like she saw something that she wasn't supposed to see. And she's straight kissing another one. Trey, why did you have to do our girl Pam like that? She don't bother nobody, and you really hurt her heart. Now Karen decides to take out her phone and take pictures for proof of the fact that Trey is doing this. I'm glad that she did, just in case Pam tries to say that she's lying and she could show her the pictures, but even if Karen does show Pam the picture, she won't believe it because she'll think that Karen is just jealous. Over at Andy's, Andy cooks dinner for Jordan like some boss or something. They sit down and have a conversation, and Andy leaves to tell Jordan that she loves him after all that they've been through. And Jordan's excited to hear that. So he's excited. So he says, well, since we're doing things a little different tonight, let me show you something. So he starts praying about his sister's safety, the food, and the love that him and Andy share. And this is when Andy becomes the dumbest attorney I know, the person that got her degree from clown school or something. She starts freaking out when it gets to the part of the prayer where Jordan starts praying for his sister's safety. And she goes on to say, Jordan, I got something to tell you, but I'm not supposed to tell you because I could get in trouble. She's like, Penelope's alive, she's in witness protection, and I'm working with the FBI, and I'm not supposed to say anything because this is supposed. Of course, Jordan was upset about Andy keeping the secret, and he's like, did you know the whole time? Andy couldn't say nothing. I'm like, Andy, you didn't even know the whole time. You just found out 24 hours before this conversation with Jordan even happened. And of course, Jordan's upset, but I'm like, Andy, why did you even open your mouth? You don't even know if this man is bugging your apartment. Andy, you don't even know the damage that you just caused to yourself, the case, Penelope, and Jordan by running your mouth. But what Andy doesn't know is Gary was listening to the conversation the entire time, so he knows that Penelope is alive and what she's doing and how she's working with the FBI. And Gary said the same thing that we're all thinking. Andy, you just fucked up. Over at Danny's, Danny and Tony are having a conversation, and Danny's like, well, how did the dinner with Jack's wife go? Tony was like, it went well, we just talked about the kids. And I'm like, Tony, why didn't you tell Danny that Tiffany asked for you to stay the night? But I wonder if Tony did stay the night at his mom's house with his ex-wife because it's the next morning and he's getting ready for work. And especially when Danny asked for sex, he's like, I can't do it because I'm fully dressed. When I came in the house last night, you were asleep when I tried. In the law firm parking lot, Andy's getting out of the car. And so when she gets out the car, she drops out until she picks it up. And when she's turning around, Gary is standing there. And she's like, Gary, what are you doing here? Gary's like, I can't come see my ex-girlfriend. Andy's like, what do you want? Gary's like, I want you and I'm not leaving until I have to do what I came to do. Then he pulls out the pictures of Jordan with the sex workers and Andy's like, these are Photoshop. Gary's like, no, it's not, baby girl. I got video proof. Oh, and just so you know, I have Jordan's apartment booked and your apartment too, so I heard everything. I know that Penelope's alive and she's working with the FBI. Since you're working with the FBI too, you would know that I'm working with the cartel, and the cartel can be very dangerous, especially when they find out that Jordan has pocketed the money that they give them for his campaign. Jordan is partially still part of the plan for the house being booked. If he would have checked after Ethan was caught with the picture frame, you would have seen that there was a bug behind the picture. He's like, if you don't do what I say, I will make you and Jordan's life live, and I will release those pictures to the internet for everybody to see. I will also make sure he ends up unalived for playing with me by the cartels. Andy's like, what is that? Gary's like, marry me. Andy's like, you're out of your mind. Gary's like, well, I'll release the pictures and ruin Jordan's life. Gary's like, well, you make me the most miserable man on earth to marry me. So shook up and scared to the point that she doesn't know what to do. Gary's like, if you don't do what I say, I'll make sure that you'll be the one to go looking for next, and I'll make sure you end up like my son. And Andy's so shook up and scared that she doesn't know what to do. Knowing how Andy is, so she'll wind up marrying him like a dummy. Andy doesn't realize that she just put Jordan's life in danger, Penelope's life back in danger, and her life in danger if she doesn't do what Gary says. She just ruined the case tremendously by opening her mouth, and Gary might get away with everything like he always does. What do you think Andy should do when it comes to this marriage proposal? Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your bell notifications. Bye!